The 2019 Formula 1 season is going to see a lot of changes, not only in rules and regulations, but in driver transfers as well. Drivers scattered all over the place. Like, someone has just got a load of F1 drivers, sneezed, and they've just went to different teams, and just went all over the place. It's absolutely ridiculous. But one of the big drivers, or one of the key drivers that we are more looking forward to, is the young Monegasque driver, Charles Leclerc, who's going to be driving for the Scuderia Ferrari next season. Now, this is a big move in terms of Formula 1 stuff, because we are literally seeing the future drivers come through the ranks and, you know, being with the teams where, well, chances are that where they'll win races, they'll win championships, they'll do all sorts and make a name for themselves, and we can go, yep, I remember when he was with Sauber, went to Ferrari. I remember when Gasly was at Toro Rosso, went to Red Bull. So there's a lot of, you know, there's Formula 1's in like a big transition period right now, and one of the drivers, obviously, well, as I just said, one of the drivers that we're going to be looking at is Charles Leclerc. How can he handle the pressure at Ferrari? Will he handle the pressure at Ferrari? Will he be there for more than one season? And how would he go up against four-time world champion and co-teammate Sebastian Vettel? A lot of people have been, you know, giving Charles Leclerc a lot of stick. A lot, you know, haven't really been giving him a lot of credit for his move to Ferrari. Obviously, Formula drivers past and present. Well, I would say past and present. Not so much present, but past. Jacques Villeneuve, obviously most famously criticising, well, not so much criticising Leclerc, but more just kind of like downgrading him in a way that, okay, you're not going to be as good as Sebastian Vettel. But we'll get onto that, get more onto that as the episode progresses. But we're going to do something that we've actually never done before on the F1 Debate Show, and that is going to be help somebody out. It's not very often that we mention other people's channels or other people who do what we do on this channel. But this episode, that's all going to change, because there is the fellow YouTuber called Alex Zaffro. You might be aware of his work. I've seen a couple of his videos that he does. I would say he's a relatively well-known YouTuber, good at what he does. Filmmaker, studies at university, so he, you know, ticks all the boxes in my eyes. He's doing a project, a documentary kind of project of his work from today, and he's going to be filming pretty much, I would say, every day or every week of his progress up until a certain event that he's going to be competing in, which is going to be an amateur race. Now, Alex was saying when we were having this conversation, he was saying to me that he used to be, or he wanted to be a racing driver when he was younger. That all had to stop at a quite a young age, and it's something that he's always wanted to do, but he's never quite found the time to do so. But now he's got this opportunity to do this, to be able to go on and actually compete in a race. He said this race was going to be at Donington Park. There is no confirmation date when this race was going to be. He's already told me that, but obviously if you go over on his Twitter and his YouTube, obviously go and hit with the follow and the subscribe, and I'm pretty sure that he'll announce a date very, very soon, to say the least. But the reason why we're here to ask you for his help is for donations. Now, he would like some money on donations to be able to go off and do this project in filmmaking, and obviously to get some funds to be able to compete in this race. So obviously there is a link in the description below, that if you are willing to make a donation, obviously, then please do. It doesn't have to be loads. It can just be like, you know, £1, £2, £10, whatever you can afford. Obviously, he'll be more than happy with just, like, you know, even donate 10 pence. He'll be more than happy with that. Obviously, he is a very nice lad. But obviously, there is a video that he did make, like a trailer type thing about what he's going to do. So we're going to show you that right now, and obviously going to get a bit of an understanding as to what he does, and obviously get words from Alex's side, and see obviously what he's doing, and obviously where he is going to be going towards this project. So obviously this is the video that he has sent for us.
My name is Alex Baldwin, and I want to know how hard it is to follow your dreams. Since I was a child, I've been a motorsport fan, and this is a passion that has led me all over the world to watch my idols race. But one thing still burns deep: the dream of becoming a race car driver myself. I have tried to accomplish this in the past, but it was to no avail. This documentary is about my journey as I prepare for my first ever motor race. It will let me evaluate my passion for the sport and what stopped me from doing this sooner. There will be many challenges that I will face before I compete for real. My fitness, money to race, and a racing license, to name a few. This is where your support can help. By pledging a small donation, you can help us document the experience of a lifetime. And this will ensure our third-year university documentary is a success. You can find the various options on our Kickstarter. Choose one that suits you. Your support is hugely appreciated. Thank you for helping, and see you soon.
So obviously that was Alex there explaining about what he's going to do as well. Very, very good trailer as well. Obviously you can see by the graphics, I would say. I was going to say the technical side of that. The graphics of his trailer as to how good of a filmmaker he actually is. So hopefully that you do stick around to watch his video, watch his progress, watch his documentary, and obviously if you do want to leave any donation, then they are in the comment section below. So with now that's out the way with, we can kindly go back onto our F1 debate show. So obviously, as I was saying, Charles Leclerc, what is he going to do for next season? Now, for me personally, I'm a big fan of Charles Leclerc. I've followed him since he was in GP3 when I first heard about him as well. There's a lot riding on this young lad. Fantastic first season at Sauber. I mean, 10 out of 10 altogether, certain for driver of the season, or rookie of the season, driver of the season, you name it. Loads and loads of awards is coming his way come the end of December. Trust me, guys. Honestly, this is big for it has been a very big year for him in 2018. But next year is going to be his biggest challenge yet, and that is his first season in Ferrari colours alongside Sebastian Vettel. How is he going to do? Now, my opinion is so far that I think he's going to do a better job than what people think he is going to do. Now, when they come into a team like Ferrari, you know, they are quite, you know, obviously, they've been there since day one. It's like the pinnacle of Formula One to go to Ferrari. It's a dream to drive for the Tifosi, to be able to be wearing that Prancing Horse logo, to be in the red car in Formula One. It's just the dream for any driver, and pretty much for any fans. You will, I would say, about one in every two Formula One fans will follow Ferrari or will have a Ferrari connection somewhere along the line. So obviously, it's a big part of Formula One is Ferrari. So obviously, Charles Leclerc is going there next season. I'm very excited about that. As I was saying, that there is loads, there's loads of things riding on this young man, but obviously, will he be able to handle this pressure? I think he will be. I think he's got a lot of support, a lot of backing coming into this deal. Obviously, replacing the outgoing Kimi Räikkönen as well. So obviously, he has got big boots to fill. He has been part of the Ferrari Junior program, which obviously he's got the connections there with Ferrari as well. Obviously, he'll know the team quite well. He's done some tests with them post Abu Dhabi. I think he finished, I think it was about 2 or 3 tenths ahead of Sebastian Vettel. So a good start, but obviously I wouldn't exactly be counting your chickens just yet, because this is the 2018 car, and obviously you don't know what setup and what fuel or anything you had. Obviously the test and tyres, obviously they're not exactly going to be looking at that going, oh yeah, Charles Leclerc is going to be the best thing since sliced spread. So I think the first part I think you will surprise a couple of people. But obviously we can't really say fully as to what he's going to do until we comes to pre-season. Obviously, the first race in Melbourne. So, Lyle, bringing you into this episode, what do you think about what do you think Charles Leclerc is going to do at Ferrari in his first season? Yeah, he's had a brilliant 2018, no doubt about that. How do you think he'll do in his first season at Ferrari in 2019? Just with the pressure and obviously driving for Ferrari, do you think he'll do well? Or do you think he'll do terrible and just be like, oh, he's going to be a big flop, like we have seen drivers do in the past?
Yeah, I think he'll do quite well. Now, obviously, Charles came in obviously this year, 2018, at the start obviously with Sauber. Now he has had a really good year, not just a few points here and there. He's done some really good drives. The best one was P6 at the Russian Grand Prix. Been making some good appearances in the Q2. I think he might have gone to Q3 a few times, but obviously most likely Q2. Basically outshining obviously Marcus Ericsson, doing a good job in his career. Obviously, as John said, obviously with GP2, Formula 2, obviously good champion before that. He has deserved the drive, definitely. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He has definitely deserved it. Now, obviously, there is drivers who are in Formula 1 who obviously definitely want that seat at Ferrari. Obviously, Checo Perez, Nico Hülkenberg. Not so much nowadays of that he's driving for Renault, but obviously back when he was at Force India, obviously he was definitely after that. And obviously Romain Grosjean is probably the one that comes to mind, obviously, which is he's the guy who he is the guy I would have thought who, when Kimi Räikkönen retired, Romain Grosjean would definitely been there. Now, obviously with Charles, it was luck. Not so much look that he got into the front, not so much look that he's progressed as he has. Look that he's at Ferrari this season, because obviously Kimi Räikkönen has moved. He was encouraged to do that. I don't think it was because of Kimi Raikkonen's ability. Obviously, he was a good driver. Obviously, I mean, and I don't want to say I didn't rate Kimi Raikkonen, but obviously he wasn't really that good. I think he went about 107 races without a victory, obviously, but then he got a victory at the United States Grand Prix, which was unbelievable drive. That was definitely a kind of a middle finger to the fans, and middle finger to me, which I'll accept it, because it was really like, oh my god, look what I can do. The oldest guy on the grid, it's insane. But he was encouraged to leave because of, obviously, he was taking up a seat kind of for other people that could come through. Again, it wasn't because Kimi Raikkonen was bad, it was just because he wasn't Ferrari material at this time, because obviously he was getting on. I think he was encouraged that he did like a Fernando Alonso, go to a team and kind of whittle down obviously to the end of his career. And then obviously as he was kind of encouraged to either leave Formula 1 or go somewhere else, obviously Charles Leclerc came through, and it did work well in his favour. Obviously luck came in his hand that he was able to get into that Ferrari seat for this year, because obviously he is one of the only rookies ever in Formula 1 to take a seat with the Scuderia in his second season. I mean, really, that is absolutely incredible. And obviously he opens the seat up, obviously, which is at Sauber. Obviously Kimi Raikkonen returns to Sauber, obviously a good seat for him. I think with Kimi Raikkonen I think at Kimi Raikkonen and Sauber, I think I'm excited to see what he can do. I think he's definitely got some good races in him, a bit like what Fernando Alonso could have had at McLaren in 2015, but obviously Sauber are going to be better than McLaren. They actually are as well. McLaren are definitely going to make progression. Obviously, remember they've got Carlos and Lando at the helm, but I can see Sauber doing a bit better than them. Obviously Ferrari power, and it's Kimi Raikkonen. I don't know why, but I think now we've got this, this more belief on him now. But obviously we're not here to talk about Raikkonen, we're here to talk about Charles, and I think so that seat, it's deserved. Now, so that's the first box kind of tick, it's deserved. The luck has kind of gone in his favour though, and I do think that Roman will now be looking at it. He might have been scratching his head a bit. It wasn't really in the papers, it wasn't really in the press, but he would have been scratching his head going, I could have had that seat, because he really was in contention for that. Checo was in 2012, obviously after he did his amazing drive with Sauber. Obviously then he went to McLaren, and that changed, the dynamic changed, went to Mercedes kind of power and a Mercedes kind of program driver. Again with Nico Hülkenberg, obviously when he left Force India to go to Renault, but with Roman, obviously he was with Haas, he was with Lotus Renault originally, but then when he went to Haas, he was going to be a Ferrari driver, and obviously he was in the Ferrari program as well. So I do think that for Roman, it's like he should have maybe gone to Ferrari before Charles, but obviously for Charles going to Ferrari, he definitely deserved it, there's no doubt about that. It is definitely a change, and it's quite a nice kind of spicy thing that we have in Formula 1 now, because we are looking at this driver who, as Jordan said, Sebastian Vettel is the third oldest driver on the grid, and Charles Leclerc is, I think he's the youngest on the grid.
I think he's 21 years old. Obviously Lando coming in next season, I think he's 18. I think George is 20, so I think he'd be like the third or fourth youngest on the grid. Obviously still a very young age, and he's actually Ferrari's second youngest driver in history. I must point that out. There's a little fact for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's really good. They've got both sides of the spectrum as well. Obviously, one of the oldest, one of the youngest. So that's definitely deserved by him. In terms of will he handle the pressure, I think that he will. I think that he'll do a good drive. I think there's not much to say about that. Will he handle the pressure? I think he'll do a very good drive. I think he'll do a Verstappen kind of drive. Now, obviously, as we all know, Verstappen came into Red Bull. There was controversy behind him. There was more controversy when Verstappen came into Formula 1 than there is now with Leclerc coming into Ferrari, because obviously now that people think that Leclerc has now deserved the seat, or more deserved it than Max. Obviously, Max now has shown that he's deserved it. It's been a few years since he came in the middle of the season in 2016. But obviously, when he came in, like me and John said, in our trade place episode, that was
a long time ago.
Episodes ago now. We said that he didn't really deserve to, and obviously he didn't at that point. I've got to say, that'll never be changed. But obviously, he won in Spain, and that all changed. So there's less controversy around Charles coming in now than Max did. But I think Charles is going to do a Max. He's going to win. I'm not saying he's going to win his first race. Well, might do. Touch wood, obviously. He's going to do a good drive. He's most likely going to get podium. He's going to get a win here and there. He's going to do well, and he's going to basically just show that he can, put up with the pressure. So that's a quick take. I don't think it is really anything about the pressure. But obviously the third thing is, and the main thing is about his partnership with Sebastian Vettel. Now obviously when you get a new teammate, there's always that talk of, even if you were friends beforehand, like Lewis and Nico was, obviously growing up, they grew up together since a young age. When you get this new teammate, it's always this thing of like, are they going to work well together? Who's going to come out on top? Who's going to be the number one driver? The best kind of teammates I've seen in past times, one of my favourite one was Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button at McLaren. I always thought got on really, really well. There was troubles. They crashed, obviously, most famously in 2011 Canada, the Canadian Grand Prix. Obviously, one of F1's favourite races. Obviously, Jensen Button, remember, he came from the back to the front, to the back, to the front, to the back. He went everywhere in that race and did about 8 pit stops. So they crashed in that race, had problems, but they were never shy of just being friends and goofing around. That was one of the best partnerships we'd seen. But obviously, one of the worst is Vettel and Webber. One of the spiciest was Hamilton Rosberg. Daniel and Max was never really a kind of a bitter one. That was always a bit of like, will they, won't they? Like a very kind of like it was a very strange one. I don't think this is going to be a fiery one, but with Charles's attitude, obviously he wants to win, he wants to go for it, very much like Max did, and obviously Sebastian Vettel going 4-5. And I think that's the main thing when you say that, you know, Sebastian going for 5. That's when you think about, like, he's got a young teammate who, will he have his back? Will he support him? He hasn't really shown that yet, but obviously he is very early. Will he support him in the fight? Obviously we knew that Kimi Räikkönen was very much Sebastian's right-hand man. He backed him up in the table, he backed him up in races. When Ferrari gave the command, you know, like a multi-21 kind of thing, you know, Räikkönen would obey that. He never really fought it. I think it was Hungary when Räikkönen was like, right, okay, I'll let Sebastian just do what he wants. Räikkönen had his back. Now, will Charles have his back? Now, I'm going to say at the moment he won't, because, you know, just going off experience, really, you know, it's like he's kind of our age. You wouldn't at that age. You won't really abide by people. You wouldn't really listen. You know, I think when Max came into Formula 1, you kind of thought, right, okay, he's going to be the young guy in Formula 1. Is he just going to obey Daniel at this point? I think also when Daniel came into Sebastian, obviously Red Bull, will Daniel just listen to Seb and just go, yes sir, I'll do everything you want? But will he actually battle him? I don't think Charles is going to have his back as much as Kimi will, but it's going to make it a very spicy. Obviously, Sebastian kind of will. He'll work for the team. Obviously, he'll get them as many wins as he can. He'll get them up the constructors' points. And he hasn't said this in words yet, but obviously you can see from the interviews that he's done, you know, it is very much like, right, okay, Lewis can get 6 next year. If he gets 6,
wow.
I'm out completely. I'm out of the water. I am not. Like, at the moment, I'm still kind of in the fight. This year, I was level with him. Next year, or like going into next year, you know, he's beaten us. He's 5, I'm only 4. He's got the same amount of championships as I have my race number. But if Lewis gets to 6, and obviously Lewis Hamilton's about 34, there's no stopping Lewis. You know, he could go on forever. I mean, to be honest, if he gets 6 next year, I do think that he could stay in Formula 1 for another few seasons. He could possibly get Michael's even more. He could possibly chase Michael's 91 victories. It's incredible what Lewis could do. So Sebastian really needs to pucker up, and he needs to kind of think, oh my god, this is it. So I think next year for Seb, he's going to drop everything. There's going to be no playing around. There's going to be no Mr. Nice Guy. It has to be 100%, visor down, everything he can to win number 5, because obviously that halts Lewis Hamilton for another year. You know, it takes championship out of his year, because again, he still could have another 4 seasons, but again, that's just 1 less he can get. And obviously 1 more for Seb, and they'll finally be equal. So in 2020 we could see 2 5-time world champions battling it out like we did 4, because obviously heading into 2018, you know, how exciting was that? By the British Grand Prix, they were both kind of level. Obviously Seb was taking the lead, but they were both level on point. They were both creeping up on points. They were both level on how good the car was. They were both level on how good their attitudes were and how good they were as drivers. And it was insane to think that we had 2 4-time world champions. We definitely need that back. So Seb was definitely going to be going for number 5. Will Charles have his back? Will Charles drive his own race? I do think at the moment that he's got that head on him, that he will just go hell for leather for himself, and really kind of a Verstappen-esque kind of drive, a Verstappen 2016 kind of drive, Jordan, and I'm very excited to see how that will play out and how he'll work with Sebastian, because obviously, as I just said beforehand, you know, Sebastian needs a kind of Kimi Räikkönen kind of teammate, someone who will support him in the World Championship, someone who will help the team. And of course, obviously, from an Italian point of view, you know, Maurizio Arrivabene, you know, he will want a driver who will work for the team. And obviously, one of Kimi Räikkönen's best qualities, he worked for the team, because he went 107 races without a race win, you know, between Australia 2013 and the USA 2018. He went that long. But to us, that's pretty bad, but to a team like Ferrari, that's amazing, because he brought in so many points, he brought in so many podiums. I think it was 102 podiums he had between each win. That was absolutely insane. That's almost every single race he's finished on the podium. And you know, you think in a Ferrari that you could do that, and just so he helped the team so much, even without doing the race wins, even without getting the race glories. And it's like, do Ferrari want that kind of driver, or do they want a hell of a leather driver that I think Charles is going to be? So I am excited to see what that can do. I don't think he's going to work as well with Vettel. I certainly don't agree with what Jacques Villeneuve is saying, that obviously Vettel will eat him alive. But in terms of who gets the dominance in the team, Vettel will definitely put his foot down early enough and say, right, okay, you have to kind of work with me for the World Championship, but then also stay out my way. Do things like get 1-2s for the team. Obviously make a gap between, let's say it's Vettel first, Leclerc second, Hamilton third. If you keep getting second place in the race, you get second place in the World Championship, you make a big gap. You get me away from Hamilton or Bottas or Ricciardo or whoever's going to be like challenging him next year. You get me that kind of gap. And of course, obviously in terms of what the Scuderia want, he makes that gap. He brings them points like Raikkonen did. So I think at the moment, in terms of what Vettel wants and what Ferrari want, they want a younger version of Raikkonen in the team.
Yeah.
Which I think that's definitely what they want. They want a new kind of version of what Raikkonen was, bringing points and podiums in. Obviously, Charles wants just race wins, and he hasn't said that he doesn't want to work with Vettel. Obviously not. He hasn't said that, and vice versa. Vettel said he doesn't want to work with Leclerc, but I don't think that Leclerc will definitely. He'll give in to what Vettel wants straight away and say, right, you're going for 5. I'm going to stay out of your way, but I'm also going to help the team. I'm going to compromise my season for you, which you could argue is that's what Bottas has done a little bit. Obviously Bottas has gone loads of races where he hasn't won, but he could have. There's been loads of races where Bottas could have got pole, but he hasn't because of Hamilton. And you think, what's he going to do? He's either got 1 or 2 options. Is he going to just kind of lie down and let Vettel take over the team, go for 5 on his own, getting out of his way, or is Charles going to challenge him? And it's really exciting to see what to do. But at the moment, I'm thinking that Charles is going to work for the team, but that's what Ferrari want. They want a kind of a younger Raikkonen teammate, Jordan. And so what do you think? So obviously that's I do think that in terms of what Ferrari want, they want a kind of younger Raikkonen version, because obviously, as I say, something like 102 podiums in those 107 races that he went without a race victory, and loads of points, to get them to a decent second place in the constructors. Obviously, hopefully to win the constructors next year, and I think that's what Ferrari definitely wants. Vettel obviously wants to go out on his own and go 5, but he definitely wants to take the lead of the team. So, how do you think Leclerc is going to kind of fit in with not just Ferrari?
Well, first of all, I think Ferrari is on like a rebuild phase, aren't they? Because 2018 was their best year that they had since 2008, the last time they actually won a Constructors' Championship. So I would say Ferrari were quite unlucky. I would say this season now. Well, last season, this season, whatever you want to call it, in 2018 season, they were quite unlucky. So. So as I said, they are on a rebuilding phase. Obviously, bringing in Charles Leclerc, obviously a young, fresh face as well, to hopefully to carry on the team forward into the next phase of where Ferrari will be back winning the championships. That's like Ferrari's kind of like their first step into the next phase, as you could say. But I think there'll be more riding more on Sebastian Vettel than there will be on Charles Leclerc. The reason being was because the last time Sebastian Vettel had a younger teammate come into the team. He got whitewashed, to be honest with you, didn't he? I mean, he didn't get any wins in 2014. Daniel Ricciardo got 3 wins that season, and Vettel jumped ship to Ferrari. And then he's had an older teammate throughout Ferrari with Kimi, right? And now he's got another younger teammate coming in who he knows is fast, and he knows there's a lot. Everyone's going to be focusing on him. And Vettel knows he's got a lot of redemption to do, and the fact that he's lost out on another world championship. Sebastian Vettel could be a 6-time world champion right now. If he had won in 2017 and in 2018, how embarrassing is that? To at least I know Ferrari fans. I know you are quite disappointed with that. But Sebastian Vettel could be a 6-time world champion today if he hadn't. If he had got everything right. So obviously he wants to try and claw that another championship back to bring it back as Talal said, 5-all. And hopefully go forth from there to establish himself as one of the best in Formula 1. But if he gets beaten again by Charles Leclerc, there's going to be a lot more riding on Sebastian Vettel than there is anything else, because it's going to be like, well, Sebastian Vettel lost his touch. Why is Charles Leclerc doing a better job? Are Ferrari handling Leclerc better than they are, Vettel? However, but on the flip side, if Vettel is ahead of the championship and Leclerc, let's say, is 4th and 5th and he isn't doing well, obviously will Leclerc be able to do what Raikkonen does and kind of like give up for the team? I think he will now. However, if this was in like a championship winning position, I think it could be a different kettle of fish, and I think we could see a big, massive rivalry between Charles Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel if both these are going for the world title at the same point. Or Leclerc slow down for Vettel, Vettel slow down for Leclerc. No, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And I think this could be quite interesting to see how these two will act as teammates. There's loads, riding on this, and obviously let's say if both of them don't, fulfill their expectations, where could this leave Ferrari? Where did they go from here? Because it's not very often that they risk bringing in a younger driver. Like I said, Charles Leclerc is the second youngest driver in history. I think the youngest driver was back in the 1950s, I think it was. So that just proves how long ago it's been since Ferrari employed a young driver. Obviously, that experience, they like to keep the name in Formula 1 to the best they possibly can. And they do need to go forward. They have finished second 2 years in a row. After I would say a couple of dark, dingy years in Formula 1, some good seasons, some good bad seasons. This is 2 good seasons in a row. 2018 was their best, and obviously this season was the lowest points that Mercedes have finished on since the V6 eras. Well, since the V6 engines came into Formula 1. So that proves that Mercedes, the gap is closing to Mercedes, and Ferrari are definitely on the way. The likes of Red Bull, the Honda, they're coming into the mix. Obviously, Gasly and Verstappen, 2 very young and hungry drivers. They're going to be putting the pressure on Ferrari, as well as the Mercedes. They're going to be still there, of course they are. And maybe, Renault in the next 2 or 3 years, which I can see happening. Obviously, 9th, 2016, 6th, 2017, and 4th, 2018. Very, very exciting for Renault. They're going to be coming into the mix very soon in that top 3, top 4. Hopefully McLaren one day, but that's a different story at the end of the day. I don't want to go into that. I want to forget about McLaren for 2018 and look forward into 2019.
Yeah, I think Sebastian Vettel definitely has a hard challenge ahead of him, obviously, because when Ricciardo came in, one of his only young teammates, he really kind of struggled when he worked with him. I mean, to be honest, 2014 was one of Vettel's worst years as well with Red Bull in his career as well. Obviously, it wasn't good after he just won 3 consecutive world championships, four consecutive world championships with the team. It wasn't good to finish like that. It really wasn't, but obviously he's definitely established in Ferrari. I think he's got Leclerc could be a good teammate, and obviously I said at the start about Bottas kind of working with the team rather than breaking away. Like obviously I remember last year in 2017, Bottas was winning some races. I remember the Russian Grand Prix was one of his best races. I think he got it on pole position there as well. I remember last year it was kind of like a Bottas could have broken through kind of race season. Bottas could have been challenging for the title. He could have really been up there, and he could have made it like a Bottas Rosberg Hamilton kind of year, but obviously he kind of yielded a bit. He kind of worked with the team as well, and obviously we don't really want to see that as fans. In terms of what Leclerc can get, I think if he has got the car, I think if he has got the intuition, I'd like to see him go for that, because as well as we'd like to see 5 and 5 like we said before, I think it would be really good to see him battling Vettel and kind of really putting it on the line and saying I can win races as well. Basically a bit like what Bottas did as well. It was so he got pole in Bahrain, and he got the race win in Russia, I believe, in 2017. And those two weekend achievements showed to Mercedes, obviously, he just replaced Rosberg, and that showed to Mercedes that was like oh my god, like he's not just a support driver, he's a look what he's done, that's incredible. So I think if Leclerc, who's already got backing as well, he's got more backing than I would say that Bottas did, and when he took over his seat, because obviously if you remember that, obviously a lot of people didn't really know who was going to replace Rosberg. A lot of people did think it was going to be Vettel or Verstappen. A lot of people didn't think it was going to be Bottas. Some people did, but he wasn't really the big choice. So a lot of people were sceptical about him, but those 2 achievements, especially the pole position in Bahrain, just showed it was like look what I've done. Look what I've done, Hamilton. I'm not just going to work with you all the time. And I think if Leclerc can do something like that, that would be really good. Let's just say Leclerc gets a cheeky pole here and there. Let's say that he Monaco round 6. Let's say that he goes out and wins Monaco, his home race. And just shows that would be incredible. And obviously he knows the street probably better than everyone, and that would be amazing. And it doesn't have to be Monaco, it can be anywhere else, but that would really, I hope he does something like that early and does a Bottas and just says to Ferrari and says to Sebastian Vettel, respectively, and just says, look what I can do, and I'm not just going to work for you, I'm going to work for the team, and I'm going to work for myself, and get me as many wins or whatever. And if I see you at the top of the championship, well, that's just how it happens. I'm not going to just help you get 5 and I'm just going to roll over on you in the championship.
Oh, certainly not. I think that definitely Charles Leclerc. As like I said, if they are going to be up there together, you know, it's going to be it is literally going to be like hammer and tongs at it. They're going to be at it like, I don't know, like two really aggressive dogs, like just like fighting at each other, like that's how it's that's brilliant analysis, no. But that is literally how it's going to be, because I think Charles Leclerc, you know, he's young, he's hungry, he wants to win championships. That's his ambition now. He's got the car and the team and the backing to do that, you know. And he's going to be like, well, I'm not going to let some, you know, oldie, as you want to call her now, who's ready for the retirement home, stop me coming in for my first World Championship, maybe more. But obviously, there's going to be loads of battles in that top of the championship, as like I said, with them, the Mercedes guys, and obviously with Gasly in the fold now. Verstappen, obviously, he's going to be going up against his young French teammate, Charles Leclerc. You know, it's going to be so exciting, 2019. I really can't wait for it. It's been a week. Just under a week, I would say, since the Formula season ended, and it feels like forever that the season is going to be coming to us in 2019. But obviously, let us know about your opinions in the comment section below. Will Charles Leclerc handle the pressure? How good is he going to be? How is Sebastian Vettel going to be? Is he going to do well against his new young teammate? Last time wasn't so good. Will it be even better this time? And really the whole future for Ferrari, really, because obviously, like I said, 2018 was was the best year since 2008. You know, they are on the rise at the moment, so obviously the only way is up really for Ferrari until they get to the very top, when they can win a championship yet again. When will that be? Only remains to be seen. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching as well. This is where we can wrap up this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you are new around here. And obviously go and leave any donations as well to Alex's page. Obviously remember the link is in the description below. Go and check that out, and go check his channel out as well if you haven't already. Go and hit him with the subscribe, and go in his comment section and tell him that the F1 Debate Show had sent you, and tell him we say hello to him. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you later, guys.